Ми ще взагалі ніколи такого не робили. Цього року трохи так, знаєш, придумали. От, і воно так.
Але прикольно.
Добре, що маємо перерви трохи між цим всім, тому що воно так дозволяє фіксити проблеми. У нас такий дуже зараз лін-експеримент.
Але це прикольно.
Okay, we're on. Hi guys. Yeah, we're online, right? Okay, cool. Hi everyone. Greetings from GDG DevFest Ukraine 2017 edition. This year, we want to try something new, and we are making interviews with speakers from time to time. Today, right now, I have Lesya Danylyuk with me,
Hi.
UX designer at Runtastic, right?
Yeah.
Okay. How did you hear about DevFest?
It was by accident.
Okay.
We had a guy, a designer from Google, coming to Runtastic, and then we just started talking with him, and he recommended me this event. He was very excited about DevFest Ukraine.
Wow.
And because I think he was here last year or 2 years ago.
Okay.
And then he said like, yeah, and there is a super event and you should go there and just contact the guys and blah, blah, blah. And then I just contacted Vitaly.
Yeah.
And then he wrote back to me, and so it started.
Cool. So mainly, DevFest is a developer conference. And like our last year statistics was like we had 89% of developers here. We don't have design stream yet. We kind of thought of it, but we don't have that much experience because we are developers. Like 10 out of 11 people in the organizing team are developers. I was a mobile engineer myself, and I like coding, but I'm not that much into design. I thought of it, but not that much. From your experience as a designer, when is the communication the most fruitful between engineering and design?
Yeah, I know what you mean, because I also was working in my past companies, and design was always separated from development, and it was like two worlds which sometimes came in contact.
Intersect from time to time.
And now I'm working in cross-functional team where we have engineers, designer, QA, and product owner, and we all work as a team together
Like
on a daily basis. We sit together, we communicate, and we work together on our project. And this is, I just see the huge difference in the process and then in the outcome if the team is communicating on the regular basis. And I wouldn't say that design is more important or development is more important. What is really important is this quality of communication. And if you have constant communication and understanding of your colleagues, this brings much more benefits. And I think like I really enjoy this way of working, and it's really, really very fruitful, as you said. Yeah.
We should definitely try something like that in our team. Like have a full-time designer.
You don't have any?
That's kind of a bit of a problem. Right now we're building an SDK, which is mostly focused on developers, but we have a UI part. And the way our process was working earlier is we were usually building stuff first and then designing. Right now we're kind of to turn things upside down and design first and then do the engineering. Because it seems that it's cheaper to fix things during design phase than the development phase.
Yes, of course. And we also work kind like that. But now we are we are experimenting all the time with our process, and we are trying to figure out new ways, because even within one company, in my company where I'm working, we have multiple teams, and each team works a little bit different because some things work better for them. And we are even like, of course, design must be a little bit ahead
Yeah,
so
yeah.
developer can
That's what
start
we felt.
working with something already.
Yeah.
But we are also working together. So if we see if there was a design or some, I don't know, drafts or user flow, and then we start working with that and we discover new problem or issues, and then we are just changing as we go
Yeah.
and adapting and reviewing and adapting again.
Okay.
And that's why it's so important that we are together, because it's like we can change things during one day a few times because we see that something is not working, and then we just talk and we fix it as we go.
Cool. I've heard a lot about design thinking, design sprints, and everything. How would you explain design thinking to engineers? Because like I don't know that much about it. What's design thinking?
Or I can talk for hours about this topic. It's really hard for me to explain it in 2 words. One of my former colleagues from my Ukrainian company once just asked me, yeah, what is the thing with design thinking? It's just common sense. And I was like, yes, it's true. It's just common sense of how you work. But many companies just lack this process, because if you think about it, it's common sense, but it's not implemented in the process how companies are working.
Yeah.
And if I have to explain this in 2 words,
Okay, like 2 phrases maybe.
The idea behind design thinking is that actually, for me, from my perspective, it has very much in common with Agile, because the idea is that you involve your client, your customer, into your designing process, and you get instant feedback from them, and you just test with them and adopt to, like you are designing with your user in your mind, and user is in center of your process.
Yeah.
That's why for me it has a lot in common with Agile approach.
Okay.
And I think that these 2, how to say, not processes, these ideologies really fit together.
Like common sense. This common sense just fits.
Yeah.
Okay. There is this new thing, kind of, probably it's not new, but a lot of people talk about it right now, design sprints. I read the book myself, but what is design sprint? Maybe just tell this to the bigger audience.
Yeah. Well, actually, design sprint, I think what they did at Google Ventures, they just took this design thinking process, because the process itself is a kind of waterfall.
Yeah.
And if you are a product company, you probably don't have resources or time to really for this discovery phase, which may last for weeks or months.
Yeah.
And I think what they did, they just took this process and adopted it and packed it into 5 days, where also product companies and small companies can afford it and just do it in their development process.
Yeah.
So basically, what is design sprint? It's a method, let's say it like that, where you can develop and test your idea with real customers without building MVP within 5 days. Like it's recommended to have it for 5 days.
Cool.
And I think it's really good investment. Some companies say like, oh, 5 days, this is such a long period. We have to take developer from their regular work, and then they just wasting 5 days. But if you think about that, if you would test your idea and see, oh, this doesn't work, and we wasted only 5 days for that, and we really saved money at the end, because if you would build that idea, and then after building MVP and launching MVP, you would say, oh, it doesn't work. You would waste then a few months and much more money. So I think it's very useful tool.
Yeah, actually, once we started getting the product company I work at right now, Get Social, and once we started getting more feedback faster, we kind of started thinking about making this a KPI inside. Like, how much feedback do you get during development phase or like even design phase? Because the faster we get feedback, the faster we iterate, change, and design something that makes more sense for the end user.
Yeah, you're just getting feedback, and you can adopt. You see what's working, what is not working, and you can change things immediately.
here at the DevFest, you had a workshop about design sprints. What is the best way to have an effective 5-day design sprint?
What do you mean best way?
Okay, how do you make? So you mentioned that, like for developers, often when you talk about design, they're like, oh, you know what? I don't want to just spend my 5 days without coding. Like I want to do something, and this may be kind of a bit irritating for them, but this is a vital part of having a design sprint effective.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Like, what are common pitfalls and how to avoid them?
Yeah, I know. Well, I see here two issues actually. First is the word design, because as most of us are not English native speakers, and we think about design like some visual thing, so drawings, UI, and stuff like that. But it's not about that. That's why.
That's a good point.
That's why sometimes and I see different companies, they don't use the term design sprint, but they say product sprint or innovation sprint, just to avoid this it's design.
Stereotype,
yeah. This is the first thing. And second thing, I think it's not as much about process, because process is only a tool you are using. It's more about the mindset.
Okay.
It's about having growth mindset, and this is what in USA they say embracing failure. So just perceiving failure not as a fail, but as learning.
Yeah.
Because if you fail if your idea was fail, it's not a catastrophe, but it's learning, and you learn something, and you know that I shouldn't do that because it doesn't work, and this is actually gaining.
Yeah.
And it's very important that your management in your company where you want to do this, that they realize this, because then they will see the benefit. If there is no this mindset yet, or if you are working in micromanaged environment, this may probably even not work for you. Because I saw design sprints in different companies, like trying to do design sprints and stuff like that, where executives simply didn't understand the idea behind it, and unfortunately it didn't really work, because
because you have to onboard people.
They were not ready for this yet.
Okay. At this conference, we have a lot of people from big companies, big names, the products we use daily. And Runtastic is one of those. So quite often people ask, like, how can I get to Twitter, Google, Runtastic? How can I get to Runtastic?
Yeah, maybe I'm allowed to make some disclosure. We are hiring.
Okay.
So just apply.
Runtastic is hiring.
Just apply.
Okay.
If you're interested. I don't know. I think at Runtastic the process is really transparent. We get a lot of applications, and our HR department is doing a really great job, and they are just reviewing applications, and if they see that candidate is good or promising or passionate, they will contact you, and then you just go through the process, and if you are good, you are in.
Okay. Then maybe some people should try. Well, thanks, Lesya, for being here.
Thank you.
This was quite an interesting conversation. Probably developers should learn more about design, UX, and product side of the things, and make the products better. Lesya, thank you very much, and let's have a break.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.